Welcome to the season of Advent. Unity has historically viewed the season of Advent as an inner search of mind and heart. It is the adventure of awakening to our true nature. And understanding our true nature, well, we know it is the key to everything. So this time of year, there is this feeling of expectancy, and we start feeling it. We start feeling it, the 1st of December, and it culminates on Christmas Eve. And you know this, if you walk outside on Christmas Eve, you can feel something in the air. Now, you may have felt it most as a child, driving home from your grandparents' house on Christmas Eve, or hiding out in the garage wrapping your kids' presents from Santa Claus. I always had that feeling of expectancy. Now, as I look back, at first I was thinking, well, kids always have that feeling because they know they're going to get presents. But when I was young, my mom remarried, and we would celebrate Christmas on Christmas Eve because that's when my stepdad's family all got together. So we were celebrating on Christmas Eve. But after our Christmas Eve dinner and celebration and opening of presents, my sister and I would go into my room, and we had strung up a bunch of lights in there, and we still had that feeling of expectancy, even though we knew, like Christmas Day, we'd have a nice breakfast and we'd mess around with our new stuff, but there wasn't a big pile of presents waiting for us now. So we still felt that expectancy. So it's not about the presents. There is something in the air. Now, metaphysically, Christmas is not just about celebrating the birthday of a very wise man who taught that we were all the light. What we are celebrating is what we would call the return of the light. That's what people say about the winter solstice. It's the return of the light. But see, the light never leaves us. The light is always right there within us. What we're celebrating is the expansion of the light into the world, the Christ light through us. So there is something about this time of year where there's always been this feeling of expectancy, but the feeling of expectancy is actually our own light. So we're on an adventure of discovering that power at work within us. And so the first Sunday of Advent is about hope and faith. It begins the creation process where we're learning that we create as our creator by expanding our own light. Now, I want to talk about hope first, because there are two kinds of hope. There is hope without faith. And that happens when we are in the consciousness of life happens to me, and there's nothing I can do about all these things going on. And I wish things would change, and I can't be happy until things change. I'll just have to hope for the best. Well, that kind of hope falls into wishful thinking, where we are just waiting to see if conditions magically change on their own so we can be happy. But hoping for the best, it can be very random. I mean, really, sometimes things can work out just fine. But hoping for the best there's never any intention behind it. It's like wishing a garden would grow in our backyard, but never buying the seeds, never tilling the soil, just staring out the window at our backyard and saying, well, let's just see what pops up. Now, hope with faith becomes a catalyst because it fuels the imagination. Hope is that inner whisper that something is possible. We receive a divine inspiration or an idea, and we have a moment of like, oh, wow, I could really create that experience in my life. That could actually happen. So hope is telling us that something is possible, or we wouldn't have received that idea. Hope invites us to participate with life. So we get that idea, we glimpse a new possibility, and hope arises. And we feel that expectation of good in our life. So then we get inspired to take an action that moves us toward that possibility. And that inspired action is guided by faith. Hope fuels our mental engine so that we take action. Now, faith is the brave act of trusting that whisper of hope. You are never given a dream without also being given the power to make it come true. That is from Richard Bach. Okay, you are never given the dream without also being given the power to make it come true. And this is the power of hope and faith. Hope fuels our imagination, and faith opens up the way. In the Bible verse, Hebrews 11:1, we've all heard this Bible verse. Faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. There's actually a lot more to this verse. And it's Hebrews 11:1 and 3. Now faith is the substance of things hoped for, as it was the substance of things which have come to pass. And it is the evidence of things not seen. And so faith is the substance of things hoped for, as it was the substance of things which have come to pass. Well, this is just the reminder that everything comes from source energy. Everything comes from source energy. God is all things. Source is all things. Everything that's ever been and everything that is yet to be. It is the pure substance and the potential, the possibility. But it is also the evidence of things not seen. Now, of course, you can look around your room and you can see everything in your room was created by somebody, right? They got the idea to create it and then they did it. But there is also evidence of things not seen. And that evidence is that we feel it. We know it. It's hope. It is that expectancy. We get the idea, we glimpse a new possibility, and hope arises. We have the expectation of good in our life. We feel that. Okay, continuing. For it is through faith we understand that the worlds were framed by the word of God, so that the things which are seen came to be from those which are not seen. For it is through faith we understand that the worlds were framed by the word of God. The word of God is intention and activity. Intention and activity, so that the things which are seen came from those which are not seen. That's how things come into being. Hope gets us excited with possibility. And then with faith, we're saying yes to what wants to be created. We're also saying yes to our true nature, that we are created in the image and likeness of our Creator, created to create. Remembering that our sacred identity is the key to everything. God is all things, and that means each of us. God is all things, and that means each of us. We were all of us created to create. There's divine activity within us that alerts us to that we are created to create. We receive an inspiration. We get enthusiastic or excited because we see the possibility. We have that hope. We believe, wow, I could create that experience. And then we're willing to listen and act in faith. Now here's our affirmation for this week. Hope fuels my imagination and faith opens the way. I'll say it again. Hope fuels my imagination and faith opens the way. Now back to Christmas, right? Which is coming up here pretty quick. Christmas is the celebration of a very wise man who taught that we are all of us the light of God. And at one point he even said, all these things I do, you will do, and even more. You see, teacher Yeshua the Christ, okay, Jesus, he was a catalyst for a sacred revolution. Remember, in his time, he actually accused people of worshiping the false god. because he was here to teach, to align with the divine within us, not worship some divinity that we think is outside of us. As we embody our Christ nature, we also participate in the sacred revolution, because we're able then to do greater things and demonstrate that we don't have to be manipulated by the conditions of life, politics. We don't have to be manipulated by the conditions of the belief systems that we were raised with. We don't have to be controlled by other people because we're afraid that if we say the wrong thing, they won't like us anymore, or they might not want to be our friend. I want to share a quote from Clarissa Pinkola Estes. And she says, one of the most calming and powerful actions you can do to intervene in a stormy world is to stand up and show your soul. Struggling souls catch light from other souls who are fully lit and willing to show it. You are actually divinely designed to be a beacon of light in a stormy world. Standing up and showing our soul, it's not about sharing our opinions or our judgments or the things that we think are wrong. Standing up to show our soul is about calling forth the divine qualities, the God qualities, love, compassion, mercy, hope, and faith. So here is our invitation over this next week. How do we want to stand up and show our soul? How do you want to stand up and show your soul? Because as you show your soul, your divine authentic self, what you do is you demonstrate the creative process. And when we get excited about a new possibility and we are listening and acting in faith, we're aligning with the divine within. We don't need to focus on the problems of life, the conditions that we don't like, and how we think things are unfair. When we are aligned with the divine within, we don't have a desire. We don't have the desire to focus on those things. We're fueled by hope and by faith and possibility. We listen, we act, we listen, we act. Because this is how we are creating heaven on earth. So remember, until next time, you are divinely designed to be doing all of this. You are designed to receive that divine inspiration and feel the hope of that actually being possible in your life, and then listening and acting in faith. You are a one-time, one-of-a-kind cosmic event in everything you do. You are blessed. And so it is.